Hi, everybody. It's your good buddy Tim with some miscellaneous rambling thoughts about our passage today. Uh, our reading was in Numbers chapter 33 and chapter 34. Boy, didn't you love all of those names that you have to try to figure out how to pronounce? But there is a great message in it. Right now, Israel is at war again. Over the years, there have been just a number of ceasefire agreements made between Israel and the Palestinians, and they have all been broken, not by Israel, but by Hamas. And for example, in one of the ceasefires, as usual, entered into for the benefit of Hamas, not Israel, for humanitarian aid and uh, medicine and some of those things. But that brief interluded peace was used just as a chance to reload, and it was followed by one Hamas rocket attack on Israel after another. And of course, it was reported in CNN with the headline Ceasefire breaks down again as Israeli airstrikes continue. The Muslim nations surrounding Israel have 500 times the land area of Israel, and yet their complaint is that Israel has too much and they want it. In fact, any land area claimed by Jews is too much. So whose land is it anyway? Actually, our reading today will help resolve that issue. It begins with a rehearsal of the journey of Israel after they left Egypt. It's kind of like God's slideshow of what happened. In verse 1, it says, These are the journeyings of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord. And these are the journeys according to their goings out. They departed from Ramses in the first month. That was in Egypt, on the 15th day of the month. On the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out within high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians, for the Egyptians buried all their firstborn, which the Lord had smitten among them. On their gods also the Lord executed judgments. And the children of Israel removed from Ramses and pitched in Sukkot, and removed from Sukkot and pitched in Etham, which is in the edge of the wilderness. And they removed from Etham and turned again unto Pihahiroth, which is before Baal Zephon, and they pitched before Migdal. And they departed from before Pihahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, and went 3 days' journey into the wilderness of Etham, and pitched in Marah. And the story goes on. One location after another is mentioned that they traveled, and finally, in chapter 33, verse 37, you get to that sentence, which says, "They removed from Kadesh and pitched in Mount Hor, in the edge of the land of Edom." See, this is not just interesting because of all the places that it mentions here, but it's interesting because of all the places that are not mentioned on this journey. When you get to verse 37 and Kadesh, actually the journey stops there, and then it picks up again on Mount Hor after all of those wilderness wanderings where Aaron died. There is no mention of all the years of their wandering in the wilderness. I've got a friend who is a young person heavily into drug use, who was finally arrested by the authorities and actually put in the witness protection program until the higher ups in the organization could be prosecuted. And while there, my friend started attending a Baptist church, not because she believed, but that she just wanted something good she could tell the probation officer. But while she was there, they were having vacation Bible school, and so she volunteered just to help out with the kids and the kindergarten group that was there. And she was just amazed. I love her description of it. Every day it was stories about Jesus. She had never heard any of this before. And she said she could hardly wait to get back the next day to find out what was going to happen next. And at the end of that week, she was saved and wondered her life was changed and became a very godly, respectable woman after that. I think if God was writing her story, I have a feeling God would just take those drugged out years, delete, leave them out from her life. That's what he did with Israel. Forget the years in the wilderness. God does as he lists the places. And finally, they arrived in the plains of Moab by Jordan near Jericho. And God says, "Speak to the children of Israel, saying to them, when they're passed over Jordan to the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all of their pictures, destroy all their molten images, and quite pluck down all their high places. You shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it." You see, many nations and empires down through the years have claimed that same land area, but the truth is it was God's to give, and He's given it to His people, the Jews. Their mission was drive out the inhabitants. Uh, I want you to realize the Canaanites had three choices. One was they could renounce their old life and join God's people like Rahab. They could just leave and go somewhere else, and they'd be left alone, or they could fight and be destroyed. It was their choice. There, they would destroy all their pictures. Interesting. They would destroy all their molten images. They were to destroy all their places of worship. You see, anything that might create curiosity or interest in that old, wicked pagan life and its pagan gods and immoral rituals and its violence need to be eliminated. God was willing to forget those wilderness years of Israel, but He also blotted out the history of sinful Canaan. Maybe you have some sinful wilderness years in your life too. But you know what? I think that God will forget those as well if you will let Him. Well, consider that today, my friends, as we get into God's Word again tomorrow. We have two chapters we'll be looking at again tomorrow. Chapters 35 and 36 as we bring the book of Numbers to a close. Think about it, and we'll get together again tomorrow and discuss it. See you again. Have a great day, everybody.